All right, hit it, sister.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for having me on tonight. I know it's probably freezing cold where the majority of you are, which is basically my home stomping grounds as well. So, as I share my story, I really want you guys to think about a couple of different things. I want you to think about your prospects and where they might be on their journey and where you're at in your own coaching journey. Because when Deidre asked me to speak on the call, and I started thinking about my story, and I've been a coach for almost 10 years, which is a long time. I never even held one job for 10 years. So to me, 10 years is a really long time. And I was even thinking kind of beyond that as to when I started as a customer with Beachbody. And I had P90X, and I think I tried to do it once, and I never did it again. And this, we're talking VHS days, guys, VHS. So I had it on VHS, and I tried to do it once. It was super hard, and so it sat like on the shelf for probably another year. And then I was at my all-time heaviest, which was almost 200 pounds. I was between a size 16, size 18, and I was like, I have to do something different. Like, I was just so miserable. I was so depressed, and I was just really desperate to make a change in my life. And so I remember I bought Power 90, and I guess I wasn't quite desperate enough at the time because, again, I didn't do it. It sat there for a while. And then I just didn't have the motivation or the drive or the determination, whatever, at that point, right? I think we can all go back and think about our journey, and maybe some of you are on that. You're right there right now where maybe you don't have that motivation yet to go all in with your health and fitness, to go all in with your business. And so for me, I was in an unhealthy marriage, and I worked full-time as a secretary in a corn refinery plant in Decatur, Illinois. And I would go to work, and I would come home and eat all of the horrible food in the world, which was either fast food or something fried. And then literally I would go to bed at like 8 o'clock every night. Like, I was in bed because I was depressed, and I didn't want to see the person that was next to me. So I just went to bed, and before I knew it, it was like you wake up one day and you're like, what happened? My mom always loved to take pictures, right? How many of you guys hated, or maybe you still hate, having your picture taken, right? My mom always wanted to take a picture. Here she was with that stupid camera, and I was like, okay, fine. So I remember it very vividly. It was New Year's Eve, and my mom took a picture of my brother and I. And before I actually got the picture, it was like shopping for work clothes and things like that. And my mom, bless her heart, my mom is my best friend. So I remember we were shopping at Sears in downtown Decatur, and I was trying on pants with elastic waistband. And my mom's like, oh, they're just made different. It's just the brand. You know, you're really not getting bigger. And I'm like, these are elastic waistband pants, Mom. What are you talking about? You know, so you start to kind of believe it, but then on the other side, you get angry too. And so it was just kind of those things leading up to that point. Like, I remember walking out of the grocery store, and I would look down at the ground because I didn't want to run into people. I didn't want to run into people I know, not like run into people like, you know, collision, but I didn't want to have conversation with people because I was embarrassed. I was depressed. I was disappointed that I had let myself to get to that point. And so it was all of these things boiling up. And the reason why I said think about your prospects, because that's where they're at on this journey. They're somewhere in that journey where they have to get to that point where they're like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I am tired of being tired, whatever. Like, I would eat. Every time I ate, I felt so sick, like literally sick, nauseous, upset stomach. And I didn't realize it was from the food I was eating. Duh. So it was you have to get to that point where you're like, enough is enough. And I remember my mom got those pictures back. She had taken them to Walgreens to be developed. And then we got the pictures back, and I was like, my face, I remember, I used to always describe it as a watermelon, but a watermelon is like oblong. So my face wasn't oblong. It was just straight round. So we're just going to say a honeydew melon. And that moment on was the turning point for me. I was like, no, like there is no way. And so I immediately started, getting on my fitness plan, getting on my nutrition plan. And that is literally like when I did the 2 and 2 together, that's when the weight started to fall off. Like you guys know when you do a Beachbody program and you do the meal plan together, that's when you're going to get results. Now, I can't tell you how many times I tried to just do the workouts and eat crappy, and I might have gotten some results, but you're not getting the real results, right? You're going to get some results, but you're not going to get real results, especially for the time that you're putting in to your workouts. So don't cheat on yourself. So I did 90, Power 90. At the time, Power 90 didn't come with meal plan. So I kind of had to figure that out on my own. I actually kind of went to Weight Watchers, and I loved the accountability that I got from that, which is really what we have today in our challenge groups, is that accountability and having to check in with someone and being able to see every week that, okay, I lost like 0.25 pounds, or I lost 3 pounds, and every week just being so excited. So with Beachbody, I was given a free coach, and I remember he was sending out emails, and this is like when the network just started, right? We're celebrating our 20th year with Beachbody this year, but the network side of it has only been around, I want to say like 12 years. So this was when it was first getting started, and he was sending out emails. This was the coach that was assigned to me. And I finally replied. I was like, okay, I want more information. The guy never replied to me back. He never responded back. And I'm so glad that he didn't. I'm so glad that I didn't join his team, because just like you guys know, if you weren't on this team, like if you had signed up with someone else that you didn't connect with, you wouldn't be where you are today, because this team is everything. Like the energy is everything. So I kind of waited along, and then I was still working as a secretary. And then at the same time, I was going through my divorce. So I met Christina Solins in February of 2009. I had been going to the Y, and I started teaching a mat class, aerobics class. And it was like 10 minutes. That was my first experience with group fitness, teaching group fitness. Like I was the type of person, if you put me in front of someone to speak, I had that granny voice, like my face was bright red, and I'm like shaking, like, oh my gosh. So I was in the aerobics closet, and I saw this flyer for Turbo Kick certification. And I was like, what is that? Like I already knew what Turbo Jam was. And so I signed up to do this Turbo Kick certification February 2009, like literally 10 years ago. And Christina came down from Chicago, did this certification. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. I feel like this little country girl. I was so intimidated by her, but I wanted to be like her, right? She was fun. She was exciting. Like everything that you guys are. You're fun. You're exciting. Like there's a magnetic attraction to each and every one of you in this team. So that was February of 2009, and I literally watched her posts until July. So again, I want you to really think about your prospects and where they are in this process, because that was me. So watched her along the way. I was going through a divorce, so my divorce wasn't final until June of 2009. And I was flat broke, guys. Like I was in a house that I could not afford. At the time, my house payment was like $1,000 a month. I was making $40,000 a year as a secretary. I wasn't getting child support, but this house was like in my dad's name and my name. So I was like, there is no way, like these foreclosure notices are coming. Like I have to do something, because it was one thing to trash my credit, but it's a whole other thing to trash my dad's credit. So I was like, I got to do something. Like there is no way that I'm going to do that to my parents. So I was like, all right, My birthday is in July, and I used my birthday money, and I remember I called Christina. I was like, I'm going to sign up as a coach. And I literally remember her being outside, and it was super windy. I think she was like outside walking her dog or whatever. And I hopped on a presentation hosted by Christine Dwyer. Christine was talking about, what would you do if you earned like $100 a week, $500 a week, $1,000 a week? I was like, that is never ever going to happen for me. But if I could make like $100 a month, $100 a month, I don't have to scrounge through the ashtray of my car looking for 70 cents to go buy a McDonald's hamburger, or I don't have to eat a nasty mayonnaise sandwich because that was all I had in my pantry. So for me, it was like $100 would be awesome for Tiara and I. That would just help. So I set the bar really low. I didn't even listen to the entire presentation. I didn't even listen to the entire webinar, disconnected, clicked the little X, and used my birthday money and got signed up. So whoever gave me that birthday money 10 years ago, thank you. They have no idea that they changed my life, which is probably my parents. So I got signed up, and literally it was like one thing after another on both sides. So like I said, I was recently divorced, so I was going through all of this crazy adversity, just like trying to sell my house. I couldn't sell my house. Like foreclosure notices, repossession notices, the power was off, the water was off. It was like, what is next? Like, my daughter's dad was saying he was coming to get her. He wouldn't show up, so like just dealing with all of that stuff, like trying to keep her happy and confident, pulled her out of her private school because I couldn't afford it. And then finally I sold my house, moved into this dark, dingy, gross apartment. I had a mattress on the floor. And it was like my grandma passed away right after I signed up. And then 6 months later, my other grandma passed away. And then my car was repoed. First 6 months of my coaching career, right? I remember going to work and someone being like, how are you so positive? Like, you got all this crap going on. Like, you're so positive. And I can literally look back and tell you that God placed this business in my life at that time for a specific purpose. Like, if I had signed up with that guy, I wouldn't have lasted. I wouldn't have been successful. I would not have continue to be, I just wouldn't, because you got to have that family feeling. You got to have that team culture. You got to feel like you are a part of something special. And that's what's beautiful, because I see you guys have created it here, and I'm actually a little bit jealous. So it was like literally kind of like one thing after another. I remember I borrowed my mom's car because my car, I was driving a clunker now. Like, there was this big event in Chicago. Like, Christine Dwyer, who's the president of Platinum Presenters, which is our bigger team, she had hired this mentor to go around to different states to do these trainings. So this was October of 2009. Like, I remember dates like specific because they were life-changing dates. And you guys will remember like specific dates where things changed your life. So I remember I had it printed out on MapQuest, and I was like, I can bring the projector if I can like stay on someone's couch. This was way out of my comfort zone to stay at someone's house I didn't know. I didn't really know Christina at the time. I mean, we'd met once, and then I was intimidated by her. I was like, okay. She said I could stay in her house. I was like, okay. I was a secretary, so I borrowed the projector, brought it to Chicago. It was dark, it was raining. It was downtown Chicago with a MapQuest. Guys, I'm a -12 prescription. I can't see squat. I'm blind. I'm by myself. It's raining, it's cold, it's dark. All I wanted to do was turn around and go home. I couldn't really find the place. It turned out to be in this really cool, like, little jazz club, but it was like in the basement of this place. And I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to do this. Like, again, God led me to that place. Like, he kept me going and not turning around when all I wanted to do was turn around and come home. So I went, and that's the first time that things started to click for me. It was the very first time in my life I had heard MLM. I'd been a coach for like 4 months already. First time I had heard MLM. first time I heard network marketing, and I was like, I remember I asked the guy, what company is MLM? He kept saying he worked for MLM, and I was like, well, what company is that? I don't know what company it is. It's multi-level marketing, duh. So that just goes to show you, when I signed up, I really had no idea what I was getting in for. I just wanted $100 a month. I thought, I'm gonna sell P90X videos. I had no desire to build a team because I thought, who's going to sign up with me? Who's going to sign up with me? I'm a secretary. I'm a single mom. I have no sales experience. I have no leadership experience. But it was like things just happened from staying consistent, from staying plugged in, being eager to learn, being coachable, being hungry for more. And my very first coach, she was the director of the YMCA in Decatur. She messaged me and was like, hey, I want to sign up. I was like, what? You want to sign up as a coach? I was like shocked. So then I was like, maybe this thing is going to work for me. By the way, that was my ring that hit the desk. If you're like, dang, she is really fired up. So my very first coach came to me. I didn't even like prospect at this point. I wasn't even prospecting because I was like, well, nobody's going to sign up with me. And so then I started prospecting. I started messaging people. I started inviting people. My second person was actually the director at the YMCA, Tina Bain. So she ended up signing up. So I didn't go Emerald until about 4 months in the business. Guys, I can show you my income. I've shared it before. I think I earned like $30 my first 4 months in the business. It would have been so easy for me to quit because I wasn't making money. I really had no desire to build a big team because I thought no one was going to do it for me, or I thought no one was going to sign up with me. But because I had the team and feeling like I was a part of something special and feeling like I finally found my purpose and finally felt like where I belonged and something I could be really proud of, right? I was really proud to be on the team. I was proud to be a part of this. I mean, it's a sexy business, right? And I don't mean like sexy, like sexy. It's exciting. It's fun. It's unique. Like there is no other business out there like Beachbody. There's no company out there that gives you free customers. There's no other company out there that's health and fitness and accountability. There's no other company out there with these crazy celebrity trainers, right? If you guys haven't been to Summit yet, or for those of you that have, you remember the first time you met the celebrity trainer. Like, it was like you met the most important person in the world because they changed your life. Like every single day you're working out with these people and they become your best friend. Like Shalene Johnson was my best friend. And even though she didn't know it, but it was like, you know, that first time that you see that person, you've worked out with them every day. Like they've changed your life. And so even though we aren't celebrity trainers, we have that same impact on other people. So the leaders that you guys have on here tonight, they have impacted your life. They're a celebrity. So it was literally kind of like one thing after another just started happening for me, even though it felt like in the beginning it was taking forever. It was taking forever to build, but in reality, it wasn't. I mean, a year, think about your life a year ago. How fast has that gone? And I know that they say the older you get, the faster time goes. I'm 42, so now time is just like going by faster and faster and faster. So it was, let's see, it was less than 18 months in the business that, dang it, I just shared all of these statistics in a training I did last week, but it would have been like April of 2011, so not quite 2 years. I had a check that was like $1,700 for the week. That was less than 2 years in the business, and that was huge, right? That's huge. Like I remember my boss asking me like, so how are you doing with that Beachbody business thing? Kind of laughing, you know? And I'm like, I said, well, I made $800. And he's like, oh, for the month? And I was like, no, that's for the week. And I remember that moment like as if it was yesterday, because nobody understands what you're doing. Nobody is going to get it. Like the majority of the people, the majority of the population don't have your DNA. They don't have that determined natural ambition. So they don't know. And they're going to poke fun, and they might talk about you behind your back, or they might make little, sarcastic comments on your posts. Who cares? Those people aren't paying your bills. Those people aren't going to send your kids to college. Those people aren't paying your car payment. They got their own life to live, and let them live it, but you go live yours. And so less than 18 months in the business, I had tripled my full-time income. It would have been, oh my gosh, time is so crazy. I was in the business for like 2 years and decided at that point, my job at Tate & Lyle, which was Staley's, if you guys are familiar with that, my job was eliminated, and they were trying to find a new position for me. They moved the sales office to Chicago, so they actually offered me a job in Chicago, and I was like, I don't want to live in Chicago. It's cold there. I'm going south. I'm going to be Southern Belle. No, I didn't know that at the time, but I knew I didn't want to go to Chicago, because if you move with a company, you're locked into that relocation, and I already knew at this point I was not staying there working for someone else. Like, I was tired of working for someone else. I was tired of getting up every morning, spending my entire day there, and then coming home and being exhausted and being grouchy and not being present in my daughter's life. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit. Single mom, I had a good job, right? You guys are all from Central Illinois. You know what I'm talking about. If you get on at a factory or someplace like that, that's a good job. Well, I also worked at the Illinois Power before that. My job was eliminated. Same thing with Staley's Tate & Lyle. My job was eliminated. So even a good job isn't always a good job. So I made the decision to quit. And I always knew I wasn't living where I was supposed to be living, wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I just felt like there was something more for my life. So I have to tell you guys, though, I remember the very first day that I picked Tira up from school. Tira is my daughter. And my last day was April 1st, April Fool's Day. So I had a big joke. I'm like, no fooling, guys. I quit my job. Really funny, right? But I remember I was in my clunker still, because at this point I hadn't bought a new car. I was still driving this clunker. And I remember Tira was in 8th grade, and I pulled up there to pick her up, and I saw her coming out. And every time I talk about this, even though it's been so many years ago, I get emotional, but she's like coming out with her book bag. And I'm like, I'm all happy, and she was just like, Mom, stop it. But I will never forget that day, especially for you moms you're working, right? You are missing out on your kids' lives. Even if it's a couple hours after school, that's a couple hours that you can spend with your kids, and them come out and see you there, and you pick them up and spend that time with them. So I just wanted to share with you guys that moment, because it was such an awesome moment to be like, I did it. Tira was in school in daycare from the moment she was 6 weeks old. So like from the time she was 6 weeks old, she was in daycare. And I would try to go there on my lunch hour and see her as much as I could, but it's not the same. You guys know when your kid's sick, they want their mama. They don't want anybody else. And you want that cuddle time with them too. So this is like what this business is about, right? It's creating the life that we want, our dream lives. So July of whatever year that was, Tira and I went to Atlanta for a game plan training. So corporate used to do these trainings throughout the United States called game plan trainings. I went to all of them. When I was in Illinois, I went to Memphis, I went to Nashville, I went to Chicago, I went to like any local event. That's not even local. I mean, I went to Ohio. That's not local. That's 6-8 hour drive. I went to every single local event, because the more you hear it, the more things click, right? So you can hear the same thing from Deidre, you can hear the same thing from Kyra, but until you hear it from like maybe myself, maybe things will click. So I went to like every local event that I could go to, every live event I could go to, I went to. Like I was on every single team call, and our calls were late. Like they were at 8:30. It's probably not that late. They were 8:30 at night, guys. I am a birdie. Like I go to bed so early. But our calls were at 8:30 every night Central Time. I was still on Central Time, and they lasted an hour and a half, and I was on every single call. Like I was on every single national wake up call. I hosted fit clubs. Indicator at one point, I think we had like 4 or 5 fit clubs going a week. So I hosted fit clubs every week, and at my fit club, I did a formal business presentation before we worked out. I had a PowerPoint presentation. I talked about the business. I talked about Shakeology. And so it wasn't like, hey, let's come and work out. It's like, we're going to talk about why you're here. We're going to talk about the opportunity, and we're going to talk about the fact that you can't work out once a week and get results. This is a sample workout for you to try, and now you're going to go, get what you need so you can get the results you're looking for. When I first started out, I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have Wi-Fi at my house. Like if I was lucky, I could borrow the laptop from work and tap into my neighbor's Wi-Fi, but I would go to the library and use the internet there. So I hear people make excuses, but to me, excuses are just lies that you allow yourself to believe, right? They're excuses. Excuses are lies that you allow yourself to believe, and they're nothing more than that, because I've been there. Like I met people on my lunch hour. I met people at Starbucks. I met people at McDonald's. I took that work laptop to McDonald's and I connected to their Wi-Fi and I worked my business. Like once things started to click for me, I lived, slept, ate, breathed Beachbody, because my desperation to change my life was far greater than any excuse I could ever tell myself. So I did it, man. I did it. So less than 5 years in the business, that $100 a month I had hoped to make turned into an accumulative of $1 million. So meaning in 5 years, I earned $1 million with Beachbody. I'm a multi-million-dollar earner with Beachbody right now. So meaning I've earned over $2 million in the 2 years, in the 10 years that I've been as a coach. And I'm only telling you like that because it's weird to talk about it. But when I signed up, I didn't know. I didn't know the possibilities. I didn't know the potential that this business had. Like I remember my mom would have like a friend come over and do Tupperware, or like Mary Kay. There was even that like crystal party. Like somebody sold like wine glasses that were real crystal, and she would take her finger around the rim and it made like this chiming noise. I saw those people doing that as hobby. I saw them doing that for fun. I didn't see them making money. So that's why I'm sharing that with you. It is weird to talk about money, but I love to talk about money because it's changed my life. It's changed my life. 9 years ago, I filed for bankruptcy, lost my car, lost my house. I lost everything. So if it wasn't for this business, I don't know where I would be. I would probably still be sitting in a cubicle doing something that I hated because my job was eliminated. Guys, I have a bachelor's degree. I could not get ahead. I got my bachelor's degree while working full time, so I went to school at night thinking, this is it. This is going to change everything. And it didn't. It didn't. I got turned down for a sales position because I smiled too much. I was too nice. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Here's the cool thing, guys. The person that got that job, I actually saw her here in Atlanta. She's still doing the sales position for that same company. And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't get that sales position for that company selling corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, because that's what I would have been doing. Because now I'm able to live my life on my terms according to what I want to do, when I want to do it, where I want to do it, who I want to do it with. So I've kind of been all over the board tonight. Hopefully you guys are following me. But Beachbody has opened up so many opportunities for me that if I hadn't taken that chance, they wouldn't have been there. So Tiara and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia 7 years ago. I ended up meeting my husband, Paj, here. We've been on VH1, TLC. I've been on the 21 Day Fix infomercial. And a lot of these things that have happened for me is because I made them happen. It's as simple as that. Like, if there is something that you want to do, you have to be the one to go out there and do it, and don't wait. Don't allow yourself to talk yourself out of it. Like, don't allow yourself to let those doubts and the fears and the insecurities to take root in your life, and then you believe it, and then you've talked yourself out of it, and then you're not doing it. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of ways that I did it, right? Like, I wanted to do something, I'm going to do it. So, Autumn was here in Atlanta last summer. I was like, I want to be on stage with Autumn and work out. You know what I did? I messaged her and I asked her, do you need any help on stage? I would love to do that. Sure, Lisa, that'd be great. So I was on stage with Autumn. Same thing, like just recently, well, actually just last week, Thursday night, I was like, you know what? I really need to get signed up as an Insanity instructor. I haven't taught group fitness in 9 years, but I really, like I said, I am envious of you guys because you guys have a magical thing going on, and that is your local tribe. I have that in Illinois. I don't have it here. So I was like, I'm going to go back to what worked for me, and I'm going to get certified to teach Insanity so that I can start hosting local events. So Thursday night, I got signed up to teach Insanity. Saturday morning, I did the virtual instructor training. I spent 7 hours out of my day. 7 hours out of my day doing the Insanity instructor training. Yesterday, I went to a fitness studio. I booked the space for my Valentine's fitness party, came home last night, set up my event page, and I think I have like 15 people that have already expressed that they're going. So that's what I'm saying. I decided Thursday, I'm going to do this. I did it on Saturday. I went yesterday. I booked the space. I set up the event page. Like, get out of your own way. Don't wait for DJ to do it. Don't wait for Kyra to do it. Get up and do it yourself because you can. There is no reason why you can't do what God has placed on your heart to do. He put it there. He wanted to put it there if you weren't able to do it, right? Let me see what else I wanted to talk to you guys about. I think that is pretty much it. I mean, I really just wanted to end with, like, your desperation for changing your life has to be far greater than anything else. So it's got to be far greater than what people think of you. It's got to be far greater than your fears, than your insecurities. Like, you want to change your life, then you go do it. And I'm not talking about, like, it doesn't have to be as extreme as my life was, right? My life change is pretty extreme. So I'm not saying, like, you have to be in some horrible situation, like sleeping in the dump somewhere. But you know what I'm talking about. You know what you want your life to look like. You know what you want your life to look like for your kids, for your family. One of the things that I just got Keith Callahan's book, Build to Last. I don't know if you guys were on that call he did for us last week, but it was gold. Go back and listen to it if you didn't. And he was talking about this 7-generation theory. And there's 7 generations before us that got us to where we are today. And then there's 7 generations after us. So not even just thinking about, like for Deidre, it's not even just about her 3 little boys. It's about their children and their children and their children. So creating a legacy, not just financially, like I talk a lot about money, but talking about the opportunities that they can have because of what you guys are doing right now today. So that really got me thinking about, like, okay, so this isn't just about like my parents, because like my goal right now is to take care of my parents. I don't want them to have to worry about anything. I don't want them to have to stress. Like, my goal is to move them from Warrensburg, Illinois, and bring them here with me so I can take care of them. And it's not just about Tiara, but it's about Tiara's kids. and her kids. And that's really kind of weird to think about, right? Like that far into the future. But think about like Rockefeller, like the legacy that they created in their family. Like they don't have to worry about nothing. They can be whoever, they can go do whatever they want to do. And you guys have that same opportunity right in your hands. So I think that's
Oh
it.
my goodness, I love that. That was so freaking amazing. You literally brought the fire, sister.
Yay!
Um,
I hope so.
yes, I want to say thank you, but the things that stood out to me was like definitely like the fact that you said you never gave up. Like there were so many times like God put this on your heart, and there were so many times that he, stuff just flew in the way, but you never gave up. You never let there be a reason to stop. And I think that's so key, because so many times people get caught up in the, well, I signed up on Monday and I didn't hit diamond on Friday, so I'm just going to throw in the towel and I quit. That's it. But I think everybody forgets, like they look at you or they look at Annie or Lauren or whoever, and they're like, but I'll never be where she's at. But they don't remember like the hustle, the heart that it took to get there, the years of hard work. So I just love that. Anybody, if you want to unmute and shout out Lisa, tell her like what spoke to you the most. If you have questions for her, I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them.
Are you guys all coming to Coach Camp in Chicago to hear Deidre speak on stage? You guys have to go.
I'm so nervous, but it's going to be awesome.
You're going to do amazing. It's going to be awesome.
I'm just going to be my awkward self as soon as I open. Kyra's going to be like hiding in the back like, oh my gosh, don't say that.
That's the beauty of this business. You just go out there and be yourself. Like I stutter, I roll my eyes. Like I should show you guys like my very first video I did. I remember Christina was like, "Why are you talking like that?" Like I was so serious, and I recorded the video like 20 times because I wanted it to sound perfect. And she's like, "I don't even sound like you." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, you're right." So you got to get out of your comfort zone and just be yourself, and that's what people relate to. So
I 100% agree with that. My favorite part about what you said was that like when you decide to, it literally doesn't matter what you have going on. Like so many times you said that, but like your insanity instructor, like you are no different than anybody else. But when you decided that you were going to sign up, you signed up and you made shit happen, versus like, okay, well, when I get to this, then I will whatever it is. And it's like, that's not how you get to that point. You get to that point by being like, okay, obviously I'm not there yet, so I'm going to do everything I can to make it happen. And I think when you do those things and it's in those moments, that's when it's legit, because otherwise you're going to half-ass it. Like if you kind of do it a little bit, you tiptoe, it's like it doesn't mean nearly as much, versus like, you know what? That is my saying this year. You know what? Because it's always like, that's me. Like, don't you tell me I can't do that, because I'm going to show you how great I can do it. So I really love that you talked about how it's like, it's actually the decision of when you decide you're going to do it, nothing's going to stop you. And then I love that you're like, they don't have the DNA you do. They don't have the determined natural ambition. Ambition is what I have written right here. And it's like, when you said that, I was like, yep, that was where it's at. That I loved that part.
awesome. I almost wish people would tell me, no, I can't do something, because that really does, like, you guys can't do this. You guys can't do it. So you guys, like, that's reverse psychology. Because when somebody tells me I can't, I'm like, what? Okay, you better watch me, because I'm going to show you as fast as I can how I can do it. It's like Autumn said in 80-Day Obsession about her triceps. Somebody told her, some guy was like, oh, girls can't have triceps. She's like, oh, watch me. So.
Okay, anybody else have questions for Lisa?
I had a comment. I wanted to hit on the fact, hang on a second, I took notes because it gave me chills. When you said the more you hear it, the more things click. And I've had a few of my followers and stuff like that ask me, you know, or even like some of my challengers and stuff like that, oh, well, you go to the same things all the time. Like, don't they just say the same, like it's the same thing over and over and over again? And I'm like, yes and no, because it kind of lights your fire every single time you go, which is why like we listen to team calls, we listen to the national wake up call. I mean, like how many times have we been told like the 4 vitals that you have to get done every single day? Like, do your 4 vitals because they work. It's insane. And I love the fact that you said the more you hear it, the more things click, because it's so true. Like, yeah, you could sit there and be like, guys, you need to send the invites, you need to make connections, you need to make the conversations. And, you know, Deidre could say it, and I'm over here like, I know, oh my gosh, I know. But then somebody else will be like, hey, you need to make connections. You need to send conversations. You're like, oh, you're right. I do.
Great idea. Why didn't Deidre tell me that?
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's the repetition of learning the things that you need to do, even though it feels repetitive, it helps so much. Every single time you go to a Super Saturday, every time you go to a team building exercise, of an event that we have, or Summit, like that's why we go to Summit every year. Yeah, it's fun, but we go there because we learn different things every single year, even though it's said the same way. So
right. We always called it gather and scatter. So like you gather together, like a lot of you guys got together this past weekend. I saw your pictures. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Why didn't anybody invite me? But no, you gather together, right? And then you guys scatter and you go build your business. And then you gather together, and that's like your lifeline. Like that is your bloodline, like coming together, catching the energy. And it's so true. You hear somebody else say it, maybe just a little bit different, and then it clicks. And we're no different than our prospects, where they have to hear the business presented X amount of times before they make a decision, before it clicks, before they decide to do it. We are the same way as coaches. We have to hear it presented over and over before it clicks, before you get the courage to do it, before you really understand like, oh, that's what she meant. Like she just meant to post my transformation story. Okay, I can do that. So it's just that. Yeah.
I love it. I am, for one, so freaking grateful. I remember the first time I met you, was it in Punta Cana, where we actually met in person, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's famous. And she gave me a hug. Oh, but it's so cool. Like, you're so right. We look up to those above us, like, as inspiration, as lifeline, as like opportunity, as what is possible. And I think that's the thing. We just have to put ourselves in those shoes. So I loved hearing your story, and I'm so thankful that you took time out of your night to spend with us. So
thank you for asking me. I was super excited. So you guys go out there. You can't do it. You guys can't do it. So go out there and do it. Show me, prove me wrong, and make things happen so we can all celebrate together at Coach Camp.
Hell
or
yeah.
Chicago, or Summit.
Speaking of the events for our team, that is reminders, is Summit tickets. They go off of sale on the 31st. So if you want them at the $155 price, like, you better get them now. Also, Coach Camp is in February. We have the compensation training in St. Louis, March 16th. Robbie's going to be there. If you are Diamond, he said he will set up one-on-ones the Friday before, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be announced. But get your ticket. There's only 60 tickets available. You'll learn the compensation. They're going to have a leadership training. I'm trying to think of what else really we have going on. I know those are like the big things. So, oh yeah, and we just announced the qualifications for our Divine Retreat. If you did not see them, you can check out the post that I made and check out the live video, hot mess live video that Kyra and I created last week. But we're going to Tennessee, and we want you there with us. So that's what I got. Keep going, guys. Like, we have 2 more days of this month. Like, don't stop now. You can make anything happen in 2 days. So I will talk to y'all later.